Calgary Flames general manager Craig Conroy has revealed what the organization wants and is likely to do come next Friday for the NHL Entry Draft. And Conroy may have also revealed if the team is willing and open to move picks around, whether that means acquiring more within the top 10 and early in the first round and moving away from the 9th overall pick, with a little hint of what the Flames might do if Tij Iginla is still available on the draft board when the Flames are ready to make their pick. We'll get into all of that and more in this video, but first, I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I am Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family, but let's break it down together and get into these draft plans revealed. If you watched yesterday's video, it was an update on Conroy talking about Jacob Markstrom, as Conroy has finally done a pretty big interview here and addressed a lot of the things that Flames fans do want to know. And again, if you watch yesterday's video, you'll recognize this article. It is the same one from Sportsnet, written by Eric Francis himself. So Q&A Flames GM Craig Conroy says Markstrom has not asked for trade. Yesterday's video addressed the Markstrom part of this article. We are going to dive into the rest of it. So let's get in and talk about this great interview. So this, where it says Sportsnet, you can just assume is really Eric Francis. So you have 2 picks in each of the first 4 rounds. Have you finalized your draft list, or could it change on the draft floor? And this is a really good question, because up until the draft, pretty much the only updates really provided by the Flames organization, nothing really from Conroy, a little bit from Button, the head of scouting, has talked about, they're not going to focus on any one player specifically. They're going to literally rank 1 to however many there are in the draft of who they should be. Whoever is highest up on the list will be the player drafted, because let's face it, the Flames kind of need every position. Maybe not really going to draft any goalies. They won't be high up anyway, but it is interesting to note that. So let's get into Conroy's answer to this question. I think it's close. I think you're still going to have those discussions. Could guys move one way or the other? There's always a little tweaking going on right up until the table. Even when we go back after the first round, when we know who we've got, what are we looking for? And if we make both picks, what have we got? Is there a priority? You don't want to pigeonhole yourself, and we don't want to say, this is the list and we're never going to budge off it, because things do change and it's fluid. Now, I don't know if he's fully alluding to the first pick they're going to make here. Obviously, in a draft, you're not just going to pick, 8 centers or so through the first 4 rounds with the picks that they have. Let's say they take a center with the 9th overall pick or whatever pick they have, then they're most likely going to be looking elsewhere. That being said, they're also probably going to be looking at whoever is highest up on their list, but in no way are they going to draft 8 centers. You can expect a few defensemen in there, maybe some wingers, maybe a goalie. We'll just have to wait and see. But it's good to know that so far it's close. That first sentence there, it's close to being finalized, the draft list that the Flames do want and could acquire. Or who they will acquire using the highest on that list. It's a very simple formula. Let's continue here. Next question. What are you hearing from other GMs in terms of the possibility of seeing first round picks traded before or at the draft? And Flames fans really want to know the answer to this question, because all the trade rumors that have been going on, especially revolving around Jacob Markstrom, Flames fans want a high pick back, preferably top 10. We know what teams are around in there. Let's see what Connie has to say. He said last year, most teams you talked to, it didn't feel like they were going to move their picks, or they weren't interested in doing that, which is interesting. Who knows what Conroy was asking for a player like Toffoli. But this year, I think some teams have actually come out and publicly stated they'd be willing to. I feel more teams are open to moving. If there's an opportunity to move up or down, what do they get? This year, there are definitely opportunities. So it looks like the Flames could be really going after one of those picks. We know the Devils have the 10th overall pick. They are constantly rumored with the Flames. Ottawa has kind of not outright said, hey, come take our 7th pick, but it is on the table. They have a lot of young players over there in Ottawa that have been high round draft picks. Hasn't quite worked out. They need a new formula. Maybe they'll trade away that 7th pick in order to grab something good like a Jacob Markstrom that can help them. It looks as though Conroy really is going after one of those high picks, and a lot of Flames fans will be happy to hear that. That is exactly what we want. Let's get into the next question here. Can we assume you're interested in collecting more picks? It goes hand in hand with the last question here, but once again, we want to know what Conroy has to say on this matter. Well, he said, you're always looking to upgrade. Keyword from there, before I continue the rest of Conroy's answer here, is upgrade. Does that mean that the Flames are willing to move some draft picks around? Are they open to move the 9th overall pick, maybe to acquire a higher one, like the 7th, maybe Utah's, maybe even Montreal's with the 5th? I don't think Montreal would be willing to do that, but we'll see. You know, Utah's in there, Seattle's in there. We know Ottawa, New Jersey. It could happen. Let's continue Conroy's answer. As the draft is going along, you have your list, and if there's an opportunity to move up because there's a guy we really like that is still available, you want to make sure you have those conversations. Some teams are willing to move, but you want to see where everybody is at. And that makes it sound like maybe the Flames do have their eye on one person in particular and would be willing to move up their pick, sacrifice the 9th overall pick to maybe get a higher one if they have their man. And there's one man who I'm thinking most Flames fans are assuming that means. It, of course, is Macklin Celebrini. They're moving up to the 1st overall pick. No, of course, we got to dive into it. It's time for some Tij talk. Of course, I am alluding to Tij Iginla here. And look, it has to be addressed in pretty much almost every single Flames draft video. I know I did one a few days ago of who I think the Flames could potentially take with the 28th overall pick, and you guys really liked that video. Maybe I can do some more like that of what I think, more so than reports. But either way, we have to talk about some Tij Iginla here. Is he the main guy on their radar? Well, we'll just have to find out, but let's see what Kreger's had to say. So here's the question. Do you worry about fan backlash if you leave Vegas without drafting Tij Iginla? And I'm going to give both Sportsnet and Conroy the benefit of the doubt in saying that, let's say it's from the 9th overall pick and the Flames aren't doing any movement in that top 10 kind of thing. Let's say they stand pat with the 9th overall pick and Tij is on the board still. Kind of would Conroy be ready to face some backlash from the fans? Well, if I can find the correct button here, it's this one. Let's see his answer. Everyone is going to have an opinion. We pick 9th, and I would love for someone to tell me how this draft is going to unfold because it could go a number of ways. That's that classic Conroy, classic just manager or just anyone in the hockey business really beating around the bush and not telling too much. But if we read between the lines here, it kind of looks like Conroy, maybe he does want Tij Iginla. I mean, if you look, I would love for someone to tell me how this draft is going to unfold because it could go a number of ways. Almost makes it sound like it could go so many different ways. We want to know if Tij will drop to 9th. I know I'm grasping here, but either way, it sounds like they could be interested. And just imagine, this could be a crazy form of tampering or something, but just imagine, Tij is on the board, the Flames go up at the 9th overall pick, and who goes up to make the call of the pick? Well, none other than Jarome Iginla. I bet if Jarome is the one calling the 9th overall pick, you can bet Tij Iginla will be the man drafted. And once again, we will just have to wait and see. But it is very refreshing to know that Conroy is very much willing to move up in the draft if they see fit. He wants to acquire some more picks. He's open to moving some of our picks, as we've speculated about moving the 28th overall pick for other things, and that they might just be interested in Tij Iginla. We will just have to wait and see.